Early morning practice for the Xfinity Series drivers. They're going to get on track here. High-speed track, Pocono 2.5 miles, 20 minutes. All cars at the same time for practice. You mentioned, Dale, not a lot of laps in 20 minutes. Takes almost a minute to make a lap here. Then single car qualifying, 1 lap each. NASCAR is going to work hard to try to get 3 cars on the track to move it along, keep it exciting. And then it's very simply, fastest time win the pole. Sometimes I like a little old school, right? No rounds, no nothing. Go ahead and get a great lap, and we'll see where you stack up.
And that's the thing I'd be thinking about as a driver pulling off right now to make laps, is to really try to go out there. Look, something dropping on the racetrack right there. Looks like a wrench or something to the right, bottom of the screen. I would think that, you know, with 1 lap, long straightaways, if you don't get the corner right, you are going to lose so much time down the next straightaway before you can recover. And so right now I'm thinking about going out there and trying to find the limits as quickly as possible on entry, try to overdrive this car a little bit so I can sort of understand what's too much when I go out there to qualify.
Well, I mentioned myself, Dale Jr., soon to be joined by Jeff Burton in the booth. But down on pit road, our colleague Marty Snyder. What's up, Marty?
Morning, guys. Ready to have some fun here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I love that land rush off of pit road onto the racetrack. No hotter driver in the series right now than Justin Allgaier. He's won 3 of the last 8 races, and it's been unbelievable, Steve. In the last 9 weeks, they have gained 105 points on the regular season championship lead, which is an amazing battle all of a sudden. You got A.J. Allmendinger in there, Ty Gibbs is in there, and this team, Justin Allgaier, now just 16 points back. Of course, that 15 playoff points, 15 bonus points going into the playoffs, that is extremely valuable. So that's on the mind of everybody here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and those drivers vying for the regular season championship. And that is not paid out for another number of weeks. The Xfinity Series schedule goes much longer in the regular season, so a lot to fight for in the Xfinity Series. But Justin Allgaier, no doubt the hottest driver in the series. Hope you guys have your coffee. Let's have some fun with the Xfinity Series here at Pocono.
I love it, Marty. As Marty mentioned, it's a 33 race schedule, stop 19, so including this race, 8 including this weekend to set the playoff picture. So a lot of points available, and it has been a great year for Justin Allgaier. 3 wins. I'm not sure we've seen a more dominant win than what he did at Nashville, our first time covering on the air. And Junior, to be just to the point, your Junior Motorsports cars, impressive. All running well. Even their youngest driver, Sam Mayer, getting very consistent. Wouldn't shock to see him in victory lane at some point.
Yeah, we've been at this a long time and got a great group of folks that put these race cars together. A great lineup of crew chiefs, great resources from Hendrick Motorsports, chassis, engines, engineering help, great support from Chevrolet. All those things matter and come together. You put great drivers behind the wheel of those type of race cars, you're going to have success. And they're chasing a guy with a lot of success right there in the corner, A.J. Allmendinger. And if I was, you know, Sam Mayer, this is a great opportunity to follow A.J., watch Noah as well, to get up to speed as quickly as possible. I talked about you're going to have a little bit of time just to go out there and practice, and then you got to go run a lap. You got to try to be the best man here in 1 lap. And so I would definitely, if I was young, go out there and try to follow a veteran. I always tried to chase Mark Martin around the racetrack back in the late 90s. Felt like I was going to learn as much as I could possibly learn when I was on the racetrack behind him in practice.
It was interesting. We saw the 1 pull down. I don't know if he was quitting or really just getting a view at turn 1. You mentioned not a lot of laps here. Josh Berry goes to the top of the board on his 2nd lap. So once again, you got A.J. Allmendinger in that white car right there, 16 of the door. Noah Gragson behind him in the 9. Sam Mayer, as you mentioned, the youngster, was the 3rd car in line. Heading into the tunnel corner, turn 2. And now joined, speaking of the track, our man that was just on the track in our NBC Toyota. What's happening, Burton?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Man, we're good. Watching some Xfinity Series practice, reminding myself quickly how much I love this place.
Yeah, this place is awesome. And that bump in the tunnel turn has not gotten any better. It's still really rough. You know what? I walked in, heard you guys talk, and there it is. I mean, look how rough that thing is. And
oh, I love the back of the car.
Yeah, and you can see where people are actually trying to run below that yellow line every now and then. See right there? That's it's even rougher down there. You can actually see the bumps.
Hey, man, you can go below the yellow line, but Junior, don't go out down there for 2 or 3 laps, man. Help me out. I start with low left side air for not a lot of banking. So if you want good grip at lap 20, you'll have to stay off that flat for the first 2 or 3 laps, or you will blow a tire.
Yeah. As you go down and use that apron, damages and beats up on the sidewall of the tire where the tire itself connects to the sidewall, and we've seen a lot of issues there as we ride with Rajah Caruth.
Yeah, so excited for Rajah to get this opportunity. Third start in the Xfinity Series. Run fourth last night in the ARCA race, leading the points over there in ARCA. Has a truck start this year, 11th at St. Louis. So, you know, starting to get more reps, more opportunities. Excited to see him on a Saturday, and I love the fact he's going to carry this helmet cam for us. This is a great view of working that wheel. Looks a little snug. That right hand seems pretty comfortable. That's how I'd like to start with my driver at Pocono. You mentioned the mistakes of losing time down the straightaway. The other thing is, you know, as we head now, I think this is into turn 2, high speed. One of the fastest kind of, you know, quick corners on the racetrack. Very easy to lose the back of the car and have a big issue. Oh, that's the apron, or hit the apron and go straight.
That's the apron and the bumps.
Yeah.
Collectively. I think what's so difficult about this racetrack, Junior, for especially young guys, is you have limited practice time. And this is really one of the most difficult racetracks because all 3 corners are radically different from each other. You have to operate on the edge of grip, and in one corner you might be tight, the next corner you might be loose.
Oh, yeah,
How do you do that?
Yeah,
you know, and it's so difficult for a young guy just to pile out here in just a few laps and try to find that limit.
Is it fair to say, you know, where do you go to get used to this place? You know, like, I don't know if you go anywhere
here
that you have this much time on the straightaways to think about what you're going to do when you get to the next corner. You go to Bristol, it's almost, you guys have told me, it's like kind of chewing gum. It becomes a rhythm, and you kind of get in the rhythm there in Martinsville. Here, you got a lot of time on these straightaways to think what's coming up.
Yeah, you just kind of always, you know, look at the difference in the corners and compare those corners to certain corners at certain racetracks. Like the back straightaway may resemble a turn at Indy on the oval. This flat corner down here may resemble a bit of, you know, New Hampshire or a Phoenix. So, I mean, they aren't exactly the same, but you think about how you drive certain corners throughout the year, compare them corners to the corners here at Pocono, and maybe you can understand, you know, what you want your car to do and how to help your crew chief with feedback. That's probably the most important thing, is really being able to give that great feedback to the crew chief to help him understand. You know, if it's tight in one of those corners, he needs to turn a different screw depending on which corner it is, right? You're not going to fix the same problem turning the same screw because of the way the corners are so different.
Well, thanks for Rajah for that great view, and Circle.com, you see it right on the dash. Those partners make these looks possible. Helps understand what these guys are doing on track.
There's not one race. There's not 2 races. There are 3 races this weekend. Let's go here at the Brickyard.
Cup cars, Xfinity cars, and Indy cars are here in Indianapolis.
The first ever road course race for the Cup Series. Another chapter written into the Indy history books.
This is like a festival of motorsport.
Contact for the 47 of Brennan Poole, the right side, heavy damage. I really noticed that right front wheel. You see the white in the ring of the wheel. That is purely from the concrete, the safety barrier, the metal, the white paint. This car severely hurt. I think the accident happened over in turn 3. Track still green for practice, but Brennan Poole, 88 starts in the Xfinity Series. And this is definitely going to be a backup car for this team. And we'll see if they have one. You know, some of these smaller teams don't carry the equipment for 2 cars. And we talk about the schedule, Jeff. It's one day. They line up the race later today. So do they have a car? How close is it to being ready? Does it have an engine? Do they have to put an engine in? So there's a lot of work ahead for this 47 team.
Yeah, he just gotten out on the racetrack. Only had 1 lap. You know, Brennan is a driver looking forward to this race. He won an ARCA race back here in his past. Marty.
Yeah, just listening to Brennan on the radio, he said he went into turn 3, hit the brakes, and it went straight. He thought he might have a flat, and it does look like that right front is flat, Jeff. So I don't know if that was the cause of it, but he said there was nothing I could do. I was just a passenger at that point.
Yeah, Marty, that's a helpless feeling when you drive in the corner and the thing just, for whatever reason, quits turning. And let's go back and watch what he was dealing with. Oh, yeah. Yep. The sparks are a clear indication that either a tire down or a suspension failure or something. The car traveled and he just no longer was in control.
Not that any hit is good, but thank goodness turn 3. We have seen some of the biggest hits in all of NASCAR down in turn 1 after the second longest straightaway. The front stretch here at Pocono is the second longest straightaway in NASCAR, only second to Road Americas. So you carry so much speed down there. These cars decel so good. You're committed to turn one. So you always hate to see any sort of failure, tire or suspension. But it's good to see Brennan out of the car and luckily in turn 3. I think if you had to pick one, that's has the most runoff room of all of them, plus the slowest corner entry speed of the 3.
Yeah, you see him, he's frustrated, shaking his head. And yeah, he knows how much this sets them back.
Well, we mentioned the 47 has to get it fixed, and that's because we have a full day of racing at 2:30. That's right, 2:30, just a few hours away. This 47 car, much like everyone else, is going to try. Excuse me, at 2:30 is Cup Series. I got so many series I can't get them straight. We got the Cup Series at 2:30, IndyCar, NTT IndyCar Series race 1 of a doubleheader. Then at 5 o'clock countdown to green, 5:30 the Xfinity Series. So he has, that 47 car has whatever, 8 or 9 hours to get that new car prepared. That's going to be a tall task. Big weekend of racing, though. Cup Series around here is going to be interesting. We go on board with these Xfinity cars. We don't see a lot of shifting. I was talking to some crew chiefs, and so while you mathematically could do some shifting, they don't see it as an advantage in Xfinity to go faster. I am confident it'll be the opposite in Cup. Those guys will be on the shifter handle a lot, so we're going to have to just wait and see. But a lot going on in a short practice, Marty.
See, the one thing very noticeable to me, these Xfinity Series cars are so skewed out here with 6 minutes left here in practice. And, you know, we're seeing these Cup cars. You just don't see it as much in the new next-gen car. But look at these cars as they go through. Look how they crab walk down the straightaway right there as these cars fly through. And it's very noticeable to me, Junior, here in the Xfinity Series as these cars go down the straightaway. You can really see that skew built into the race car.
Yeah, and we were going to take a look at this, and I was expecting to see quite a difference between the cars. And you can see pretty much everybody. You can, you see about the same amount of skew. See a little bit of the left door and the left front fender. Don't see a big difference between teams. So what they have figured out, it's throughout the entire garage. Now, you know, how that skew is helping different cars and maybe how much they skew more in the corner, because as they go into the corner, the skew could increase. Teams have figured out ways to make that happen. Going to give you a little more side force down the middle of the corner.
So the Cup car is built symmetrical, meaning the tail is on the center of the car. An Xfinity car is not. The tail is not in the center. It's moved to the right. The car itself has offset in the body. So it looks, standing behind it, you know, there's a bigger left rear quarter panel than a right rear. The tail and the spoilers to the right. Well, the crew chiefs found out we're trying to make all this downforce. If I just turn the car sideways, it just makes way more. That's why there's a rule, Dale, to your point. So there's two things, static skew, or that crab that Marty talked about. NASCAR measures that. But then what do you do with the car as it travels? There are things you can adjust to make it move over even more. And the reason it's so noticeable here, in my opinion, is because look at how long that straight, you know, you have a really good chance. Most tracks, especially like at Charlotte with that funny front stretch, you just don't have a good reference point.
Yeah, the bottom line is for a driver, when you skew a car like that, it just makes more grip. The car just automatically makes more grip. Sometimes, Steve, it drives some of that downforce to the back and makes the car tighter. Then you have to adjust to that. But there's no question that if you can make a car with more grip, then balance becomes less important. A car with more grip that's a little loose will go faster than a car with less grip that is the same amount loose. So grip in the racetrack is what every driver and every crew chief is looking for.
Well, we see Jones Quick is currently on the fast lap. He has run, surprisingly, 15 laps in practice. A lot of laps being run, teams being very efficient here at Pocono. Only 4 minutes remaining, then qualifying a little bit after. The youngster Sammy Smith behind the wheel of the 18 car. All right, junior fact of the day. I don't know if you're going to like this or not like it. Sammy Smith making his second start. He was born 4 months after you won your Daytona 500, your first in 2004. So I'm just going to let that sink in. Jeff, it was too much low-hanging fruit to pick on you, so I went with Dale.
It wasn't as impactful.
Nah, everybody kind of got the idea. But I say that because, like when we say young drivers, he turned 18 and he was in Xfinity car. There wasn't like a lead up or some time. He would have been in it earlier if they could. Made that first start, and now he's back in the car here at Pocono.
Yeah, won a big super late model race, Redbud, this year. Ran the ARCA race yesterday, which I love that. I love the fact that they can use those ARCA races to get some experience. That is a great training ground.
I watched that that race at Anderson. 400 laps around that little racetrack in the super late model hard for these guys. It's good for them to run them long races, Marty.
Junior Jeff mentioned a key word there, experience, and that's what the Gibbs cars have today. They went out with a plan, and a clear plan. As soon as it went green, they all went on the racetrack. They haven't come off the racetrack since then. This is lap 20 for Sammy Smith, so I think it's a wise plan. Steve, I don't know if you agree, but it really gives the teams a feel for the longer run. Ty Gibbs saying about 15 laps into his run, hey, car started to get a little bit too tight towards the end of that run. So that plan for Joe Gibbs Racing to get as many laps as they could as the red flag comes out here at Pocono, pretty wise one.
Oh, I love that plan. You know, while they haven't been coming here forever, the cars have stayed very similar to even last year or the year before, so you should be close. Give your driver a nice long run to figure it out.
I'm impressed how many laps they can get into a 20-minute practice. I mean, I know how long it takes to get around the track, but just impressed that they're able to get that many laps, get that much accomplished. These teams have been able to find a way to become completely efficient in the limited time they have.
One thing I've learned right here, fast lap to tire fall off. While there is some tire fall off, it is not enough to think that those fresh Goodyears are going to change my day. It's track position, track position, track position. You better get your pen and paper and calculator out if you're on pit road to figure out how to consume this race with a couple stage breaks.
The other thing that impacts, Steve, is that, you know, these guys go out and they practice, and then the next lap they make is Q. So if you go out and you go to a track where you have 3 seconds of tire fall off, and then the next time you get in the car, you have to go make a qualifying run. That is a massive adjustment for a driver. Today, you don't have that big of an adjustment. Falling off only a second at a 2.5-mile racetrack with 3 corners is very small. So now that input that the driver's building in his brain about, you know, what does the car do? Where does it drive? How hard can I drive it? That last lap did not hurt him for this next qualifying lap he's getting ready to make.
We see some cars come in. One monster car, Riley Herbst in the 98 rolling down pit road. Another monster car, the 54 of Ty Gibbs, already parked and driver out, and I think Marty has him.
Yeah, let's chat with Ty Gibbs here. He's like a pitcher, if you can notice. He's kind of talking to Chris Gale with his hand over his mouth so no one can see what's going on, and almost like a pitcher talking to his catcher. Let's grab a word with him.
That's because you're there, Marty.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know if it's because the camera was here or those other teams really close. But it's kind of wise for a young man. Let's grab a word with him here real quick. Hey, Ty, you guys, clearly Joe Gibbs Racing came with a plan. When that green flag dropped, you were not going to stop until it almost finished up. What did you learn about your car over that run?
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty good. Just got to hopefully we can make some adjustments to make our Monster Energy Toyota Giro Supra a little bit faster. I'm excited. I actually like Pocono. It's pretty fun. So hopefully we can be pretty good for the race. All glory to God, and hopefully we can see what we can do.
I would say so, with an ARCA win here in second in the Xfinity race last year. Let's talk about how the car kind of changed over the run. Did you notice a lot of fall off with the tires?
Yeah, so we're at kind of a different compound now with Goodyear, and I think it's a little bit better, so they're making the right decisions on that. I mean, we could always use a little bit more grip, but I feel like we got to make this racing good, and the tires are a little bit hard, so just kind of figuring out how to cope with the tire and with the resin on the racetrack. So hopefully we can get our car to be a little bit faster. I think we've got a very fast Toyota Giro Supra, and thank you to Monster Energy and everybody that's on board.
For a young man, you're pretty smart. I saw you talking to Gale with your mouth covered.
I don't know. I learned some of that from the NBA, just covering my mouth. I don't want people to know what I'm talking about.
There you go. So he does watch and pay attention, guys. So pretty smart move by Ty Gibbs. Pretty quick, too. Second fastest in that session. Yeah,
it's amazing. You know, we see a lot of drivers get opportunity, but in only 36 starts, he already has 8 wins in the Xfinity Series. So this is a young man. Listen, his last name's Gibbs, right? He's not going to hide away from it. His grandfather owns the team. But it's way more than, hey, my grandfather owns the teams. It's those win stickers behind his name. He can flat get it done on the racetrack. So, and he's exciting to watch. That battle with Kyle Larson, Road America, one of the best we've seen.
Yeah, he and his teammate Brandon Jones, both quickest in practice, and Ty has the best overall average speed of everyone here, which is no surprise. Like you said, I mean, the guy's been great everywhere, and it's a place where I think Gibbs can shine.
So if we get a little wider and we look at these cars, you see some fans on the wheels. They're going to change tires. They're just trying to get the heat out of the brakes before they put the new tires on. You know, they don't want to heat them up for no reason. So you see all the fans kind of magnet to the wheel there. These teams got it figured out how to be efficient with this limited time between practice and qualifying. Qualifying still coming up here at Pocono. Full weekend of racing action all across the stations of NBC. 2:30 Cup Series practice and qualifying later today. From Iowa, the NTT IndyCar Series, race 1 of a doubleheader weekend for those guys. And 5 o'clock, countdown to green on USA. Xfinity Series racing here from Pocono at 5:30. Then you flip to tomorrow. More action available. Countdown to green, 2 o'clock for the Cup race. Then we got NTT IndyCar Series, the second of their doubleheader from Iowa. Great little short track. That's a Cup Series from Pocono. And then 6:30 post-race show. That's right, post-race after the race on USA. Well, the driver making his first Xfinity Series start since 2016, Marty, which blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. Former champ in this series, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. standing by with you.
Yeah, I think 6 years ago. He still remembers how to do this. So what was the biggest part of the learning curve, going back to the H pattern and all that?
Yeah, everything. No, it's really cool being here with this big machine racing team. I got to thank Scott for letting me come out and drive a few races. I think he's over in Paris at the Rolling Stones concert or something. So
that sounds like more fun than this, huh?
No, I'd rather be racing. So yeah, it was a good practice session. Everything went smooth. Kind of the balance we thought we were gonna have, we had. So I think that's a positive thing. Now we're just trying to tune it in a little bit, trying to figure out our cars don't change a whole lot from practice to qualifying, but obviously when you put tape on these things, the downforce, shifts quite a bit, and just trying to figure out how much to go and then how hard to drive it. But it's fun being back in the Xfinity Series. It's been a long time, and I'm gonna have some fun.
There you go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back in the 48 this weekend. Catch him this afternoon, and I think he mentioned to me, big learning curve going from the Cup car to this Xfinity Series car.
Great year for Ricky, though. Engaged this year, got that contract extension, a marriage coming up. It's a good year for Ricky Stenhouse, both on and off the racetrack. Fun to have him back. Good sight right here, though. Cars on the end of pit road qualifying when we come back. Blue sky day here in Pocono. Results from the one and only practice we had. Fast lap. Brandon Jones, Ty Gibbs, Riley Herbst. It's an impressive list. Sammy Smith, and first Xfinity Series car or attempt here. Had some good speed. Not surprising to see some junior motorsports guys up there. So, but these times, why this is their fast time, that was grill open, and that was in race trim. Now we put some air into a fresh set of Goodyear tires. We've added the tape to the grill. And now we're going to go out. It's one lap. You don't get 2 attempts. One lap sets the entire field, and starts with the 77, Ronnie Bassett Jr., the 26-year-old out of Winston-Salem. Jerry Hunt Supercenter on top of this car. This is his 4th attempt this year. He's been unable to make the race yet on speed, and this car, guys, has to make it on speed. Has to be in the top 33, or he will not be in the field today with one extra car attempting the race.
Well, it all started with that turn 3. Because you got to be carrying enough speed. The straight is so long, even coming at the green. If you don't have a good turn 3, it's going to kill your front straightaway speed.
Chasing the car up the racetrack here on the corner of exit of turn 1.
Multiple cars on the track at time, but spaced accordingly for NASCAR. 15 seconds in between them just to move qualifying along, because it is a big spread out racetrack. 15 seconds should be more than enough time to have a car like Ronnie Bassett's right here affect the car behind him.
And you mentioned the pressure on Ronnie having to be in the top 33 to make this race. Long time to think about it down these straights. Oh, really loose.
Yeah.
Oh, and now Junior has absolutely destroyed the straightaway speed. Not being able to be in the throttle.
Well, it took about a 55.7 in practice to be in the top 33, but we expect people to go faster. 55.3, we'll see. Behind him on the racetrack, the 45 of Sage Karam. He'll be featured in the pre-race show. Emotional return to Pocono, his last laps here. He was involved in an IndyCar accident. In that accident, Justin Wilson lost his life, so he sits down and has that conversation in our pre-race show. You're going to want to see it. Sage Karam with a 55.2, so good lap. IndyCar guy coming over here. So
and Sage ran the middle of the groove in 3 and 4. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but there is some resin on the racetrack, and maybe some added grip up there that some of those guys found in practice.
We have Timmy Hill, who's finishing his lap. The 29-year-old out of Port Tobacco. Crash Claims Are Us is the sponsor in this car. I mean, it's a good sponsor. I don't know if that makes me nervous that, crashes on the side of your car. You see on the left-hand side, he's already finished his lap. He ran a 56.21. Brennan Poole, we saw him in that accident. He did not make a qualifying attempt. As we talked about, it's going to take some time to get the backup ready, so no lap.
Yeah, 56.21 of Timmy Hill maybe lets Ronnie Bassett feel a little bit better about his lap. We saw how loose he was, but maybe, unless Timmy Hill just had a really bad lap, maybe that 36 will get it done. You know, a lot of people forget Timmy Hill's dad ran some Cup races, had eight Cup starts.
Now our next set of 3 cars out on the track, the 78 of Josh Williams, a 29-year-old from Port Charlotte, Florida. Alloy Employer Services on the hood of this race car for BJ McLeod Motorsports. 141 career starts in the Xfinity Series. Junior, you've raced with him a few times when you're on track. Quite the character, nice guy.
Yeah, he's got a great personality, and I think last year he was, improving and having some really solid runs. This year's been a bit of a struggle and some frustration for Josh. So just not being able to really, him and BJ haven't been able to find the consistency and the pace in the car that Josh had over the previous seasons.
Yeah, Josh grew up racing go-karts, quarter midgets, legend cars. Look at that left front, just all over the racetrack, Steve.
Yeah, that right front has a little gap because when you go down in the corner, the left front really doesn't travel a whole lot more. The car just kind of rolls, travels on the right side, seals it up. He's in the green right now. Pretty good lap for Williams. We'll see. Also on track, you see the 5 of Stephen Parsons.
Stephen Parsons had a little fun on his social media yesterday. We had a lot of rain at the racetrack and dared everybody to retweet him 1,000 times to jump in this giant pool of water out in the infield. He did it. It's fun to see the drivers have a little fun at the racetrack.
Here's the 5 of Stephen Parsons.
Phil's son out there trying to make his own way.
Here, our partner Kelly on the quarter panel right here in the Chevy for BJ McLeod.
Yeah, and Stephen does a great job. He works really hard at this. He does anything he can to be in this sport. He definitely wants to be here. Tremendous work ethic.
And you see Kyle Weatherman with a pretty good lap going.
So this right here, the 34, Kyle Weatherman behind the wheel of the Equity Prime Mortgage Chevrolet. This team finished 8th at New Hampshire. That ties best career finish for Weatherman. Did a nice job. He does a great job in this car when he jumps in it, owned by Jesse Awuji. We see Jesse drive it from time to time. Weatherman, though, when he gets in there, you see the pace of this vehicle. Tells me that young man has a lot of talent. I like to see him getting these opportunities.
Emmett Smith, also a partner on this team, coming up on the 20th anniversary of him breaking the rushing record in the NFL. I asked him how many yards was against my Washington football team. I know
it was a bunch.
He might send them a thank you note.
Marty, what's the word on pit road?
I want to introduce you to the busiest man, Steve, Barry Kern, NASCAR official. So he has to, you mentioned that, send these cars out in 15-second increments and then has to kind of get everybody ready about 30 seconds later once those laps are completed. You mentioned they go out in groups of 3, right? So he's going to send Rajat Caruth here first. He's going to wait 15 seconds and then walk down to Landon Castle. 15 seconds later, he's going to send Landon Castle, and then he's going to walk down to Kyle Sieg and send him 15 seconds later. So then he goes to the next group of drivers and said, hey, make sure you're ready. So that's Cole Custer, Myatt Snyder, and then followed also after that by Anthony Alfredo, or actually Jeff Burton. So yeah, it's a busy group down here. Barry kind of leading the charge down here in his clock, very busy on these 15-second increments.
Yeah, Marty, the other part about that is the tower, the NASCAR tower. They really got to be paying attention, because if somebody doesn't leave as fast as you're expecting them to, or if they have a problem getting through the tunnel, now you send somebody too soon, now it messes up the whole entire flow. So to get 3 cars on this racetrack at the same time takes a lot of coordination between the tower and pit road.
Yeah, Rajat Caruth, 20-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Race late models at Hickory Motor Speedway, runs in the K&N Series, raced here yesterday. Top 5 finish.
Yeah, only his 3rd Xfinity Series start.
He's leading the points in the K&N Series after yesterday's event.
It's got to help. I mean, laps at this big track, kind of with whatever you're driving, you see the front of that car, some movement. One even has a few of those bumps. iRacing on the rear bumper of this car, avid iRacer. I was in one joint session with him one time and realized that I did not belong in this session. I was well off the pace. This is a great view on board heading into turn 2. Notice the tunnel turn, almost a big moment. Almost a car destroying moment.
Yeah, he knew it too. He knew that hurt his time some. He won't be the only one that's frustrated going through the tunnel.
So behind him, we have the 10 of Landon Castle trending in the green. He has car nominally on the side of this Colleague Racing entry. Great run a week ago at New Hampshire. Unfortunately, was disqualified for a height issue post-race. I don't think they want to take that away from the momentum. They didn't get the points, but the momentum is still there, proving that he can get up there and race. I mean, a lot of experience. 194 starts for Landon Castle.
I have to admit, we won. Junior Motorsports won that race in New Hampshire, but part of me was pulling for this guy to make it happen, and felt like he had speed in the car. I'm sure he's running that race over in his mind, what he could have done differently, and wonder what he'll do this week.
Little steam out the cowl flap. Got a little temperature. These guys can still add tape like in the old days. More qualifying when we return. Xfinity Series qualifying underway from Pocono. Landon Castle currently fastest on the board, but 6th on the board. Raja Karuth had an exciting moment across the tunnel. Drivers, looks like a lot of apron use here.
Yeah, if we get a look at it from behind here as we pan around, you'll see how much apron. I mean, this is common for cars to get down on this apron, and usually it's something you would use in race trim to get the car to turn a little bit more, but Raja getting a little bit too much there. Just really made the car loose. You could see in the following corner, the back was out of the racetrack, so the car's loose as it is, and just a little bit too much apron.
Check out the left rear tire. You talk about how the tires move around on low air pressure. This is qualifying. This is not low air pressure. But watch how much the left rear tire moves through these bumps. I mean, there's a ton of deflection. That sidewall, that is the concern with left front tires, left rear tires here. And that's not low air pressure. That's a higher air pressure. So you got to be careful taking off here on the green with lower air pressure damaging the tire.
As qualifying continues, Kyle Sieg, Ryan Sieg's brother, the 21-year-old on the racetrack, and the U.S. Hydration's Sparkling Ice Ford. Marty.
Yeah, and guess who the interested participant and watcher of that is? Ryan watching his brother qualify there. Last time we saw you, your car was, what, about 15 feet off the ground at New Hampshire? You okay after all that?
Yeah, no, it was a wild ride, but I'm all good. Glad to be here at Pocono with our beautiful A-game car, and hopefully we'll get her dialed in as good as we had it last week. But we're getting there. You know what I mean? Here, it's a tough one for this place, but I feel Cowboy and I are pretty confident we can get it right, and found ourselves towards the front.
There you go. He and I were talking a minute ago saying, hey, this place is so hit or miss. They've been off the last couple of years, but they've had some good runs here in the past as well.
Great lap by Cole Custer there in a 54.48, and I think that's something for everybody to aim for. Custer will be contending tomorrow or today.
And he ran that second groove in turn 3, and it hurt. We were watching his time. It hurt his time through the corner, but that momentum down the front straightaway kept building and building and building. So even though a little not quite as fast through the corner, by not pinching the car off, it made the straightaway speed better and actually made a better lap time. Cole Custer has 2 poles here and a win in the Xfinity Series, so you'll have to deal with him today.
Mm-hmm. Myatt Snyder was also on track. He clocked in the 6th position. Here's Myatt coasting around after.
So as all these guys coast around, eventually they'll turn loose another 3 drivers. And I think these little moments when the track kind of sits, it allows that track to change a little bit, Jeff. I don't know that, you know, the track's getting faster as it's getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And time is clicking by. You're in the back of this line. You're like, send them guys out there, man. The track's getting hotter. It's getting slower.
So Myatt Snyder in that 31 car, he's finished top 10 in both of his Pocono starts here. So, he's been good at this racetrack.
Jeb Burton in the 27. 27 car, 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 takes to the racetrack the 29-year-old out of Halifax, Virginia, with the Pure Gear Tank Lines Chevrolet for Our Motorsports. Spent some time with Jeb last weekend in New Hampshire in the garage area, and he was just talking about this Our Motorsports group and how they feel like they are the top team in Xfinity without an alliance. Everyone they're chasing, Junior Motorsports, Gibbs, RCR has a big footprint in this series. So a lot of teams with an alliance for technology and equipment. Our Motorsports, he said, we just don't. We're kind of doing it all on our own. And it's been, I don't want to call it a struggle, but an uphill battle trying to figure out the answers to some of the speed.
And not only that challenge, Steve, but this team grew quickly from 1 car to 3 in a very short period of time, and that definitely spreads a company thin to be able to bring in the people necessary to continue to perform, and they have done that. I think Jeb is actually maybe the top performing car most weekends for this organization, being the new driver here.
Well, last week we heard about the big accident at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is what it looks like, right? Contact between the 2 and the 8. The 8 goes up the racetrack. And, man, nowhere for all these guys to go. So you're going to see right there. And then there comes Jeb underneath 39 of Ryan Sieg. Everybody just goes to the top of the racetrack. You see how quickly it happens. So it was good to see everybody get out okay. On the bottom of your screen live, you see Noah Gragson in the green and tracking very quickly. He is currently, I believe, off turn 2, heading into turn 3, so he needs to have a clean turn 3 for this lap to continue. Let's see. You had mentioned the second lane for Custard. Noah runs the bottom, lane 1.
And watch him lose a little time off down the straightaway. You gain running that bottom, but you're going to lose a little bit down the straightaway, but still quick enough.
So lap good enough to go top of the board for Noah Gragson. Good lap by Noah. Behind him, Ryan Vargas, the 21-year-old on the racetrack, and the KSDT Chevrolet for JD Motorsports. Always good to see Ryan. I'm telling you, it's hard to find a guy with a happier demeanor. Every time I see Ryan, he's smiling in the garage here. Really appreciates these opportunities, and he clocks into the 13th position. And Marty, we talked Junior Motorsports. You got a Junior Motorsports driver down there?
Yeah, they've been so quick lately. Obviously, Justin Allgaier winning last week. Let's get over here and chat with Josh Berry. Boy, as a guy growing up at short tracks, how opposite is Pocono from anything you grew up racing when you were coming up?
Yeah, definitely. It's its own animal for sure. But thankfully, I got a couple races in here last year in the Xfinity car with Jordan Anderson. So got a little experience there, and we had a good practice. I feel like our Tire Pro Chevy is pretty solid. All our teammates look pretty good, so we're just going to see what we can do here and try to have a good race today.
Qualifying is one thing, but on the long runs, how different was the car and the tire wear at the end of a run?
Yeah, definitely. We saw a little bit of fall off there, I feel like, and it's only going to get hotter. So, like I said, I like that. I like it when the tires fall off. I think it's the traction compound's going to come into play a little bit this afternoon. So it's all, you know how Pocono is. It's going to string out and be about track position, but I think we got a good car.
We know JRM has been certainly strong lately, Steve, but with the Gibbs cars being so quick this afternoon, maybe that debate, is it Joe Gibbs Racing or is it JRM? Maybe it's not quite put to bed yet.
Oh, it's not going to be put to bed ever. I mean, that battle's going to happen all year long. Josh Berry, Dale, I don't mean to make your life harder, but when I look at skills in the garage area and drivers, and we see a lot of movement on Sundays and all of this conversation, Josh Berry, I know he only has 47 Xfinity Series starts, 4 wins included in there, 31 years old. If I'm a Cup owner, if I'm a competition director on the Cup side, that's a driver I have my eye on. I love his demeanor. And his laps and late models we might not list, but they are thousands, and there's a lot of trophies to go with them. I've been very impressed with what Josh does behind the wheel. Speaking of personalities, I know you love this guy, Santino Ferrucci, open-wheel guy, comes back into the Xfinity Series. He's been here before, 7 starts, trying to make his 8th career start. I got to spend some time with Santino up in Indianapolis for the month of May, and a good first corner for Santino.
Dude, it looks amazing. I think this guy is quite a talent because he can get in any car and make it go fast. He races in open wheel, but he can step in a stock car and find speed right away with very limited time in these cars. And that we've seen guys come over here and struggle to be able to understand how to drive these cars, how to push them. He has hardly any laps. He'll show up when he shows up, 1 or 2 races a year, just a handful, and can be quick. Great lap for Ferrucci as he comes down the front straightaway to complete that second quickest.
Remember, he was a development driver for Haas F1 for about 3 years, so his talent is respected around the world.
We heard from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. earlier. well documented, champion in this series, but hasn't run a race since 2016. I think we're going to see a variety of drivers in this 48 car through the rest of the year from everything I'm hearing in the garage area. And Stenhouse clocks in second. Behind Stenhouse on the racetrack, the 36 of Alex LeBay.
And that's a beautiful race car.
See steam coming out of the, right there on the bottom of the right side of the window. That's telling you that it's as hot as it wants to be. And he shuts it off. The pressure immediately goes up in the cooling system, and that's why it all starts blowing out as soon as you turn the engine off. That was all three of those guys just had good laps. Stenhouse second, Ferrucci third, LeBay eighth. And that locked in Ronnie Bassett. Unfortunately, Brendan Poole is going to go home.
Qualifying continues here at Pocono. We see the 23 of Anthony Alfredo on his lap into turn 1. Let's go back down to pit road and Marty Snyder.
Well, the fastest in practice this morning was Brandon Jones. We'll walk along here with him. So, was number 1 on the charts. How did it feel behind the wheel?
Yeah, man. I utilized obviously that ARCA practice and race yesterday to try to get some more laps, and I think it paid off for us. I know we didn't get the win. I wanted to go 3 for 3 pretty bad in that ARCA car, but just missed our balance a little bit there, and there were some things that I think I could have done a little bit better as well. So utilized all that and tried to make a better lap out of it today. So looking forward to seeing what we got in qualifying.
There's Brandon Jones' face. So how much do those extra laps really help you when you come into a race like this?
It's pretty big, man. I think that I knew exactly where the grip level was this morning to kind of fire off of this practice session. I utilized the PJ1 some yesterday too, just to see, and it has plenty of grip, and so if you're a little bit snug on the bottom, I don't think that's the right place to be, but if you need some more rear grip, maybe that's somewhere that you jump up into and try to utilize for your balance. So it's a tool, and I think I knew kind of where it was there, so stayed away from it as much as I could early on, just kind of knowing where my balance was, but something that we can definitely jump there and use later in the race.
Jeff, he makes a terrific point. Those extra laps no doubt help, but number 2, there is resin that's been sprayed on the racetrack. Same spots as last year's. We ride on board here with Daniel Hemrick, so there is resin for these teams to be able to use here this weekend at Pocono.
There is resin, and it's going to change a great deal. Riding along with Daniel Hemrick, 4th fastest. That's the thing. Like that ARCA practice is great for getting the driver in the rhythm, the ARCA race getting it in the rhythm, and learning the racetrack, but that resin is going to change a great deal between the beginning of that ARCA race and the end of this Xfinity race.
I also like what he's talking about, the balance, how he can move around the racetrack and change his balance, help his car. You love that as a driver, if you're tight or loose, to be able to go somewhere else on the track to make pace with an issue at the back of the car or the front of the car. And that's what this resin allows the drivers to do. Remember, had the grip strip around the top of 3. They repaved this racetrack just but 1 lane. It was like 3 or 4 lanes up the racetrack, way high in 3 and 4. And we got here for the race. And I said, "Hey, we'll never go up there and run that. That's way too far up there. That's way too far around." And everyone was on it in the race. You could not miss it. You're way slow, but a lot of fun.
Prior to that, there was a test here, and I was here with Mark Martin, and we both felt like we were pretty quick. And we go in the garage, and like everybody here was like, not a little quicker, like 3/4 of a second faster. And we're like, man, my car, like we didn't understand it. And I left, went down tunnel turn, and somebody was in front of me, and they ran that grip strip, and I said, I got it. I know what the problem is. It was immediate, like almost 3/4 of a second.
Well, Ryan Sieg, the 35-year-old from Tucker, Georgia, with the A-game Ford on the racetrack. RSS Racing, so self-owned race team. We saw his brother qualify earlier, currently sits 7th. We'll see if Ryan can better his brother on lap time. 286 starts in the Xfinity Series, just took the green flag. You see got off turn 3 well. That's kind of that tells me right away, right? It's not going in the red instantly. It was going in the green. Now he drives down in, little rear security, little back wiggles, but turns the corner pretty well, drives off. Also on track, and I think one of the favorites is Riley Herbst tracking in the green. You see it already just down the front stretch. This 98 car is fast, was fast earlier. The 23-year-old out of Las Vegas, Monster Energy on the hood. Stuart Haas Racing provided race car.
Yeah, Riley Herbst, he is starting to really show what kind of race car driver he is. This has been his best year by far. Had a lot of speed, been consistent. You see, he's using that apron as well. I wonder if it's just a little bit too much, though, Junior. It hurt his time there.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of time down the short chute here into turn 3. Now we're riding on board here, or looking at Sammy Smith, who's actually a quarter of a second up on Noah's lap. Also headed toward this tunnel. Let's see how he uses the apron here.
Already pushing water down the back straight. You can see it, that lower right side of the windshield.
That's a great corner, though. Right around the bottom there, just maybe nipping the apron, but not using it too much. Almost a half a second faster off into turn 3. Enters 3 hard. Can he make it stick? Right around the bottom, gaining more and more time. What a lap.
Man, he is getting ready to set the new mark by a bunch. Holy smokes.
Wow.
Sammy Smith, fastest by 6/10. You don't want him to look at the water temp because it was hot all the way back in turn 2. You can cycle it. No, so let's talk about that, right? So the water's cycling out. These guys just aren't coasting around here coming in. It's going to be shut the engine off, coast, let the air in the radiator cool, start the engine, cycle it, do it again, try to work some of this temperature so the car doesn't sit at, 250 or 300 degrees on pit road. But what a lap, Junior. 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, you shut the engine off to leave the water in the radiator. Allow the air to cool that water. Allow that water just to sit there and stay out of the motor for a minute. Then crank the motor, cycle that water into the engine, and continue to do that process.
One guy on pit road that had to be curious of that lap of the 18 car, A.J. Allmendinger. I think Marty has him.
Yeah, I think everybody was impressed with that lap. Let's talk regular season points with A.J. Still the championship leader, but I'm sure the battle's getting a little closer than you would like right now, isn't it, A.J.?
Yeah, but honestly, Marty, I points aren't even a big deal to me right now. Of course, we'd like to win the regular season championship, but, right now it's just about us trying to get better each week. We know that at most of these places we're lacking a little speed. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be 15th in points, but we know if we win the regular season, we don't have the speed going in the playoffs. It really doesn't matter. So we're going to try to get this Action Industry Chevy a little bit better. It was okay in practice, but we still need some speed. But that's what it's all about, getting ready for the playoffs, whether we win the regular season championship or we fade a little bit. It's about finding more speed.
Shifting or not today?
I think as the tires go away, there's a chance. Qualifying, you won't. But it's going to get hot. It's going to get slick, so it's a possibility.
There you go. Could be a factor today, guys. It's Xfinity Series cars. Possibly at the end of the run, AJ was telling me you'll see some teams shifting here at Pocono.
And I think that's where AJ would perhaps stand out, is when those tools come into play where he can, make his car drive a little better. The 08 here, David Starr, 54-year-old from Houston, Texas, 243 Xfinity Series starts. Ticket Smarter on board, and behind him, the 8.
Way up the track here for Josh.
Yeah, buddy. I don't think he wanted that.
Full commitment on corner entry and just did not make enough grip. I tell you what, though, it didn't hurt him quite as bad as I thought it would have.
Especially because, remember now, we're comparing to Smith's lap, which is 0.6 better than Noah Gragson. So if he'd have gone before Smith, we'd be like, oh, man, he's 0.4 quicker than Gragson, right? This is a good lap relative to everyone other than Sammy Smith.
A good tunnel turn, had good speed through there. Up the racetrack again. Maybe he's doing it on purpose.
Looked like a little smoke going out of the car there, right? Might be on the splitter just a little bit.
Good point. Yep. Which that's going to be better, pay dividends when you get in the race. You want that thing as low as you could be. Clocks in second at a 53.91 behind Josh on the racetrack. The number 4 of Bailey Curry, 25-year-old out of Driftwood, Texas.
Alka-Seltzer back in the sport. They've been out of the sport for over 15 years. Curry really proud to be the one to bring them back. They used to sponsor Jimmy Smutmeans.
Love
number
that.
52 in the Cup Series back in the 90s.
And bravo. We'd love to see a partner come back in the sport. I mean, that's so good. See, now you like the gray and orange. I like this scheme right here. Really pops on the racetrack for me, the white, the blue. I don't know if I'm sold on the white wheels yet. Not a big white wheels guy. I don't know.
I know somebody who loves white wheels, and that's Jeff Burton.
It's my favorite. I think there should be a rule against them. If you put white wheels on a car, it should be a half-second penalty.
Well, Alka-Seltzer, don't call Jeff Burton. They don't like your white wheels. Dale and I are fine with them.
I love that paint scheme, though. It is awesome.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is cool. And you said it. I mean, seeing Alka-Seltzer back in, that brings back so many memories. Jimmy Means, and really is cool to see him come back.
And I love that a team like JD Motorsports could make this happen, right? Like Junior Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, they have big marketing groups out there selling and putting partnerships together. JD Motorsports went and found a way to get them back in the sport. So, good work for them. We talk a lot about what the little teams don't have. Well, sometimes what they have is some creativity and opportunity to provide to a partner. So it's kind of like, it reminds me of a golf paint scheme. The orange and the blue, like the old golf schemes you'd see like in the 80s for IndyCar and Formula One. That was kind of the paint colors.
That's for sure. Watching Mason Massey go around the track here. What you got down there, Marty?
Hanging out with Justin Allgaier, who has been on a roll. You ever been on a roll like this with 3 wins in 8 races?
No, but just proud of our team. Everybody at Junior Motorsports has been working so hard, and it's just an honor to drive these cars right now. I know Chevrolet and the Hendrick Engine Department, I mean, just everybody that's a part of this has really been doing a good job. So we got the Brant Fresh Drag Coach car in victory lane last week. We want to get the Hellman's car back in victory lane this week, but it's going to be a tall order. I mean, we were just talking about Sammy Smith's lap there off camera. That's a heck of a lap. Kind of in line with where I thought we were going to be for qualifying speeds, but now you just got a rabbit you got to go chase. And seeing Josh run a 90 probably doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence to go run that 60, but we'll see what we can do.
What about race runs today? I know that's going to be a huge factor, and I was surprised of the amount of laps people were able to get in practice. What did you learn about your car?
Well, I definitely thought that we got more laps than I thought as well. For us, I felt like our long run speed was really, really good. Our Hellman's Camaro was super fast in the long run. We just didn't slow down. The problem with not slowing down is I didn't really run that big first lap, so that's why qualifying is a little bit of an unknown, but I think once we get in the race, as long as we can have some maneuverability, I think passing today is going to be important, making sure that you can go where they're not, but our team does a great job. We got great pit stops usually on pit road, so as long as we execute all day, we got a good shot at being there at the end of the race.
How about that, Jeff Burton? That's kind of a formula you used for a while, right? I mean, maybe not the quickest lightning fast speed, but that long run speed, that could be huge today here for the Xfinity Series.
Oh, I think it's huge, especially this racetrack. There's so much ground to be made on long runs. Marty, I want to know, after last week, we thought he should buy his wife.
No.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask that.
I'm not taking
by the
credit
way,
for this.
I will ask. By the way, Burton said last week you should buy Ashley a car. That should have been your reward for not being there on the birthday.
Well, I'm going to say that Jeff probably made a little more in his career money-wise than I did. So maybe, Jeff, can I borrow a little bit of money? If I'm going to buy her a new car, I might need to borrow a little bit of money.
There you go, Burton. So now it's up to you. See how that happened?
My wife has birthdays, too. Don't need...
Mason Massey and that Richmar Flores Chevrolet completed his lap 19th. More qualifying when we return. A lot of action still from Pocono today. 2:30, we have the Cup Series practice and qualifying. A little IndyCar from Iowa. Race 1 of a doubleheader. Then at 5 o'clock, countdown to green. And then 5:30, Xfinity Series racing. Qualifying continues. Brandon Jones. Jeff left pit road, coasted a little bit, tried to save a little engine temperature. I don't see any water out of the cowl, so mission accomplished for the 19 and on a pretty good lap.
Really good lap. Yeah, got that information from his teammates that they were getting hot, so left. Got it in gear, got it rolling, shut it off. Kept the temp down. Now he's got to get through 3. He chose the bottom. Big wiggle right there. It's going to hurt his feet on the straight.
It is. Now it's a drag race against the clock. Will it be good enough to beat the youngster Sammy Smith, also in a Joe Gibbs car? It is. 53-58. To the top goes the 19 of Jones. Behind him, the 02 of Brett Moffitt on the racetrack. He's finishing his lap. Brett, another driver for Our Motorsport, has half off wholesale on board as a partner this week. And 11th quick for Brett Moffitt. And then another Junior Motorsports car right behind him, Sam Mayer. Don't let the time fool you. This place is big, man. The lap times are definitely spread out. That's a 7th place lap time right there. That's 3/4 of a second behind the pole sitter.
Yeah, I was watching the one car and lost a lot of time in the tunnel. Probably just didn't get through there as good as they hoped. And looking at Jones's car as well, he had a moment, but able to stay in the throttle. And I think that resin helps. He knows that resin is there and that grip is there. So when he gets a little loose, he talked about it on his interview. If I'm free, I can step up in that resin. It'll tighten my car up. He's able to stay committed to the throttle and the pace and be able to get that lap down. The top 2 right now both ran in the ARCA race yesterday. We talk about Cup drivers that want to run in the Xfinity Series to gain time. That's the ARCA Series is a great place for some of these rookie guys to get laps as well. Marty.
At the end of that lap, Junior, Brandon Jones said he was pushing water. He was plus 20 on the temp, Steve, when he crossed the start-finish line. We've heard a number of teams talk about that. Josh Berry, in fact, when he came in a moment ago, you're looking at the front end of Sammy Smith's car there, who we saw pushing water as well. When Berry came in, he said, I'm worried I killed the motor. They were pegged on the water temp on the 8 car when he came into pit road to plus 300 on the water temp. So, Steve, why are all the teams here struggling with this temperature issue? I've heard teams all the way up to 300 to 290. I mean, these temps are really warm this afternoon.
Well, you see right there, you showed the Sammy Smith car, but the tape had already been removed. You see them pulling it off the 19 because they're probably going to run the engine fan and try to circle some air through there. It's just size of track, right? We had practice earlier. Everything's heat soaked. You know, it takes 55 seconds on throttle to finish a lap here, 53 seconds. So it also takes a minute something to come around and take the green. You get so much heat in it. It's just really hard. Tape on the front helps grip, helps drag, helps downforce, hurts the motor. So it's the risk you take. Getting too hot, I don't think, can hurt a motor unless you push too much water out.
This will be an interesting lap here with Gibbs. He's been able to kind of set himself apart from his teammates throughout the season. I think Brandon Jones coming here with a lot of pace. Sammy Smith with a great lap. Can top both those cars, put himself P1. Right on top of their laps heading into the tunnel turn.
It's really a Gibbs versus the world battle right now. It appears that that tunnel turn right there, Gibbs absolutely destroyed it. Fast time. Joe Gibbs Racing just so much better than everybody else right now. And Ty trying to be better than his teammates. Didn't have a great center of three, but good exit.
Well, we've seen this before. Joe Gibbs Racing started 1, 2, 3 here in 2016. And they are currently 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. We'll see if that holds up. The 51 of Jeremy Clements finishing his lap, the 37-year-old from his own race team, Jeremy Clements Racing. On the bottom of the screen, the 16 of AJ Allmendinger in the green. We talked to him earlier. He said we got to find more speed out of these Colleague cars. Action Industries, a partner for Colleague this week on the 16, and we will see. Can he find that pace off turn 3?
That's a good lap right there, though. No other cars within 3/10 of the Gibbs cars, and that rolled him into third.
Breaks up the trifecta at least. He still Gibbs front row, but Allmendinger's, he don't like that stat of 1, 2, 3. He's like, man, I'm going to try to split that up.
Well, it's got to make him feel good, too. It's talking about speed, right? We don't have speed. We don't have speed to roll off and be able to be be third. And such a major difference in speed here. You look at the time he ran, a 60. That's a second faster than currently 15th. That shows you this racetrack. Little things make a big difference because the straights are so long, the corners are so long. If you miss it just a little bit, you pay a huge penalty. And if you hit it, you get a big gain.
Well, and that's the frustrating part when you come here for, say, an organization. You have Landon Castle at a 54.90 and A.J. Allmendinger at a 53.60. That's 1.3 seconds out of the same group. I don't know if they have the same setups. I don't know anything about what's under the hood, but if you're Chris Rice, man, I'm scratching my head a little bit, be like, okay, well, let's just figure out how we missed it, at least in qualifying, to have that big of a gap between our cars.
We really haven't seen the track lose any pace in this session. Thought it would throughout the practices. The temp went up in the track, the sun's sitting there baking it, but really, if anything, it stayed the same or gotten a little quicker.
You know what it's made me realize is that when we used to do this qualifying order by draw and we would run bad, we'd say, oh, it's because
a draw.
Track got hot, or there's a bad draw.
Just need an excuse. There's a lot of excuses out there if you want to find one.
Yeah.
Well, this guy right here, Sheldon Creed, the 24-year-old out of Alpine, California, driving for Richard Childress Racing in the Whelen Chevrolet. 63 points out of the playoffs currently. A little shocking. I expected this to be a playoff-bound car. I expected them to win a race. We haven't seen a whole lot of shots at wins. You talk about that, Junior. You got to have shots to kind of make it happen. They've run okay, but 63 points is a lot to make up even in 8 races. So we'll see if he can find the speed to win. Great speed down the straightaway.
I think if they stay committed to Sheldon, though, that's going to benefit them, and it will pay off. Come out of the Truck Series, had a lot of pace and a lot of speed. Found consistency there. It took a while, and I think that's the same thing he's dealing with here in the Xfinity Series. I bet that next year he may take tremendous improvement in pace, speed.
Well, he had a great turn 1, and this is Pocono at its finest right here, right? Had a 10th going down the Long Pond straightaway, gave up 2 tenths through the tunnel, And he can give it back or gain more here in turn. You know, anything can happen down turn 3.
Well, remember, he finished 5th last week. That's his best finish in the Xfinity Series. So some positive momentum coming into this race. Good turn 3.
Good turn 3 for Sheldon Creed. On the racetrack behind him, you're going to see Sheldon is in 5th. The 68, Brandon Brown in his own race team, Brandenbuilt Motorsport, Brandenbuilt Foundation on board. News came out he's not going to be in this car next week. It's going to be Austin Dillon. Had a nice post on social media talking about how much it hurt to not drive his own equipment. But the business of racing is basically what you can say kind of got in the way. So Austin Dillon, you mentioned Cup guys trying to get laps, is going to be in that 68, help the business model. To round out the Richard Childress contingent, here's Austin Hill in the 21, Junior.
Brandon will be in another race car competing in the race. So for fans of him, he will be competing, but not in his own car.
And a great opportunity. I know it hurts Brandon, but think about Austin can drive that car and kind of, hey, man, your stuff does this, does that. Might be able to feed him along a little bit as well, try to improve his stuff.
And Austin Hill, he's the 7th right now. And that's an opportunity for Brandon Brown also. There's a lot of ways to make your race team work, right? Obviously, more sponsorship, more success, all those things, but maybe finding a way for an outlet for Cup drivers, for an opportunity to, hey, I got good equipment, come drive my car, bring some sponsorship. That helps grow your business. So there's a lot of, remember, Richard Childress used to drive race cars. He started this career as a race car driver. He turned his business into being an extremely successful race team by saying, hey, I'm not going to be a driver anymore. I'm going to give this equipment to drivers who can go and I can grow my business. There's a lot of ways. I'm not saying Brandon Brown can't continue to drive. I think he can do both. I think he can find a way to drive that race car and expand his business.
Well, and this isn't a new model. We've seen the 48 put Cup guys in it and go to victory lane to get their first win in the Xfinity Series. And then you have the 07 of SS Greenlight Racing. They put Custer in it. He went to victory lane. So, you know, evaluating with Junior back at the early days at Junior Motorsports, right? You had a kind of variety of drivers in some of those cars. Now you have veterans like Justin Allgaier, who's doing a spectacular job for y'all. Hellman's on board, that classic yellow and blue scheme. Hellman's a longtime partner of Junior Motorsports. The 36-year-old having a great year, Marty. They're going to compare this 7 and see if he could take anything to these Gibbs cars.
Yeah, Steve, interesting conversation between spotter Eddie DeHaan and Justin Allgaier before he rolled off pit road. They noticed that Sheldon Creed, when he went into turn 1 as he comes to the green here, that he was all the way up, all 4 tires in turn 1. He said that gained him a lot of time. And then Justin came on the radio and said, I haven't tried that. So, Jeff, would you be willing to try something you haven't tried all day long if it's going to give you more speed?
Well, he did. And up the racetrack in that traction compound. That is a brave thing to do. And it is a risk, but obviously it worked. Going into the tunnel turn, he's got a little bit up on Gibbs. Got to get this tunnel turn right, Junior.
Gibbs did so good through the tunnel. That's where I think you're going to have to be almost perfect to beat him. And you can see not quite as good as Ty. Tracking still ahead, though, down into turn 3. Another corner where Ty Gibbs did an amazing job. The 7 car up the racetrack entering. Can he make the speed on exit?
Oh, yeah. Watch what this does on exit speed. Gave that speed up, ran that top line. It's going to work forward momentum onto the start-finish line.
The momentum continues for JRM, and Justin Allgaier takes Gibbs off the front row. You hear the excitement. The 37-year-old 7th career pole for Justin Allgaier. He is going to be excited. Hopefully we'll talk to him after the break.
Justin Allgaier saved the best for last. An impressive run by you. We made a big deal about you maybe trying to find that grip in turn 1. Did it help? Did you even mean to be there?
No, I didn't mean to be there, unfortunately. You know, I got on the splitter really hard getting into 1 and actually drove up the racetrack and got to where, you know, my spotter Eddie DeHaan was talking about. But just this team, everybody at Junior Motorsports, our Hummus Camaro is really, really good. And I felt like the long run was our strong suit. But you guys, they put me as last, as the only car, so I had to go do something special, right?
There you go, and he delivered today on the pole, Justin Allgaier.
Impressive lap by Allgaier by himself. Had the stage all to himself, guys. That's how you do it. Well, don't disappear. Come back and join us at 2:30. Cup Series practice and qualifying. That should be just as exciting. Then we have NTT IndyCar Series over on NBC from Iowa, the first of the doubleheader. Then countdown to green at 5. Xfinity Racing at 5:30 from Pocono. A full day of action. Bright blue skies. Up next, Austin Dillon's life in the fast lane.